Hello. For my lesson, I have chosen to focus on the science behind the everyday phenomenon, the butterfly effect. And since I'm hoping to one day work with kids, I'm going to pretend that my classmates are 5th grade students. So for this lesson, let's just pretend they're about 12 years old. So first, I want to provide the basic definition of the butterfly effect, which I would like to be written down in everyone's notes so you can follow along with me. The butterfly effect, basically stated, is an idea that states a slight, small change could later make a much bigger, drastic change happen. So, basically, what this is describing, I would like you to put your paper and pencils down whenever you are done writing down the definition. Just make sure we're all simply listening so we can better understand together. But this definition is basically describing that even the smallest, slightest, seemingly non-significant actions could possibly affect something much more important down the line that you possibly thought it wouldn't. So this phenomenon was originally named the butterfly effect by a Mr. Edward Lorenz. So if you want to write that down, Mr. Lorenz was the first to name the butterfly effect. And he was a meteorologist, meaning that he worked with the weather. So he pointed out that even the slightest movement, in this case, such as the flapping of butterfly wings in what he said was China, could affect the exact path of a tornado in what he said was Texas. So this could later be devastating to those who were affected, who may have not been affected before. So this is the whole point of that butterfly effect, just something small, insignificant, could actually lead to something really significant down the line. So it's not true, of course, or confirmed that the flapping of butterfly wings could really change the path of weather. But Mr. Lorenz was right when he connected that even the smallest actions could cause huge effects later. So, an example to help you connect to this theory in your everyday life. Let's imagine you get home from school. Your mom asks you to please take your dog outside. You say, okay, Mom, but you do not. And then your lovely pup decides to pee on the floor. And you do not see this mess because you're busy, not listening to your mom. So while it seems like not a big deal to you, and you thought, I'll just do it later, the dog will be fine, you do not notice that this puddle of pee was directly at the top of your staircase. And your mom then comes to go walk down the stairs. She falls and she breaks her leg. She now has to have surgery. She's out of work for 6 to 8 weeks, meaning she's making no money. So your mom then can't afford to pay your water bill, your phone bill, your house payment. So because you do not take your dog out, you are now homeless, phoneless, and sad. So I'm going to write up here, not letting dog out, not letting the dog out equals homeless. Wow, this does seem very drastic. This is kind of the exact point of the butterfly effect. Something tiny, such as not listening to your mom for 20, 30 minutes and not letting your dog out, led to all these terrible things happening. Now you have no phone, now you have no money, and now your mom's leg is broken. Perfect example of the butterfly effect, something that could happen to any of us. But, of course, this is a bit dramatic. It is worst case scenario, which is a common theme with the butterfly effect. So while you're thinking on that, I want everyone to take a minute to write down your own example of the butterfly effect. And I'm going to share my own personal favorite with the class. And we did have Mr. Jack Jones over here. Yep. And he was nice enough to provide us with this example. Maybe some of us can relate. Jack decided to skip his first period on Monday. He thought it wasn't a big deal. He thought he would sleep in, and he watched TV and did nothing. It was great. But then Tuesday comes. He shows up to first period this time, and he did not know that there was a test because it was announced on Monday. He then fails this test. His terrible test grade then makes him fail his class. Then, because he failed his class, he will not move up to middle school next year. So, all because Jack decided to be lazy and sleep in on Monday, he will spend an entire another year in the 5th grade. So, let's write lazy morning equals another year of 5th grade. He's definitely not happy about this, and it's obviously not the outcome that he thought would come from sleeping in. But, perfect example, thank you, Mr. Jack. Perfect example of the butterfly effect. Some small choice that you did not think would be anything significant later leads to something terrible and drastic in the end. Perfect example of the butterfly effect. So hopefully we all kind of have an understanding on the basic definition, but now I want to make sure we kind of understand the science behind it. So now we'll touch on kind of what we spoke about before, but I would like you to write down some of this. So we do have a Mr. Lorenz. Let's write down he was a meteorologist. Again, this meaning he did study the weather. He was the first to put together the flapping of the wings, butterfly, could possibly change the direction of a storm. Drastic example, this is where the name came from. There also are a couple of other connected theories that could help you understand the butterfly effect as well, because they are connected. Mr. Lorenz actually worked closely with some of these other theories, so all kind of encompasses the same idea. First one is this ripple effect. The ripple effect. And that is, basic definition, a situation like ripples expanding across the surface of still water that can lead to an effect from a small initial state, later to be followed outwards drastically. So what this definition is basically saying is, like the butterfly effect, the ripple effect also is connecting this idea that your small action of dropping a rock into a still pond could later have a huge outcome. If you want to envision you dropping that rock, you would most likely see your ripples go for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet. One small action, big actions down the line because of that. So the ripple effect, kind of having the same idea as this butterfly effect. There's another theory, and this is the one that Mr. Lorenz worked closely on as well. And this one is called the chaos theory. And that is CHAOS theory, for everyone that would ask. But the chaos theory is a section of mathematics that is focused on dynamic systems that are very sensitive to their initial conditions. Again, kind of a confusing definition, but what it's basically meaning is this small change in this initial system, meaning your first system, the first system you're in, your surroundings, any changes in that, no matter how small, could completely change their life route and endpoint for this object. So basically the same sort of idea, back to the butterfly effect, that this small action later leads to something down the line. Next, one more theory that is also related to the butterfly effect that could help you better understand it. This is called the domino effect. Domino effect, and you can write this one down as well. It is also referred to as a chain reaction, which is a good way to think about the butterfly effect as well. A chain reaction, meaning that cumulative effects produced when one event sets off a chain of similar events. So, this definition is basically connecting back to the same idea that the butterfly theory encompasses, saying if one was to change this initial system, no matter how slight this change was, no matter how unimportant you thought this action you're doing could be, you could be completely altering the path for this object. With the domino effect, think about pushing down one domino. When you line them up, they're all going to fall no matter how many miles the dominoes go for. This is the same sort of idea that the butterfly effect is encompassing as well. So, we've now learned the butterfly theory can be used to analyze different things within our world today. Things such as our own actions, how we saw with our example with our dog peeing on the floor, something really small and insignificant, but now you're homeless. We also saw it with our lazy morning with Jack. He had one lazy morning, one more year of 5th grade. So, we also saw that Mr. Lorenz connected this butterfly theory back to meteorology, meaning back to the weather. As he explained, even the slightest action could completely change the weather, could completely change someone's life, could completely change the path that this storm goes on, and who knows what that would do. Also, we saw it within mathematics with the chaos theory and the domino theory, which again, Mr. Lorenz worked closely on as well. But we saw that as the chaos theory and domino theory connected, this idea, your small, insignificant action could completely change your outcomes. And looking at all these definitions side by side, up here in your own notes, I hope you also make the connection that they are all very similar. They all share this same theme, and they all connect back to how the butterfly effect views these small, insignificant actions and what they could actually lead to down the line. And this phenomenon is a lot more common than we all might have thought. We see it in our movements, our choices, in mathematics, even in the weather. So I hope, since you're all familiar with the concept now, you know the basic definition, you know the science behind it, you know different theories that could help you better understand it. Maybe you'll start seeing it in your everyday lives now. And if you do have any questions, please let me know.